I'd like to establish a rule for this board that nothing changes on an agenda or materials or attachments for an agenda less than 48 hours before bill. But I'm not going to let the point go. I'd like to establish a commitment that we can agree to on how much lead time we need, that nothing changes before a board meeting. We've made an important point here of no surprises. Let's get it done.
Budget, and we had discussed on our November meeting the $7 million we directed the superintendent to spend on staff bonuses, reduction, and parity for our charter students. I wonder if we could have 5 or 10 minutes to discuss that at the end of section 7. Again, I'm sorry that this is late, but
it's unclear to me what we're voting on. And we're talking about $7 million out of reserves. And to clarify, we're talking about the 13-14. This is new information. We didn't.
13-14.
We're okay. This is the first time that we've had a chance to even have a conversation about this. We did not know that this was coming on the agenda tonight. So I just want to ask a couple of clarification questions. We're talking about the 13-14 school year. We're talking about $7 million. I'm still unclear about where the $7 million is coming from, since the budget has already been spelled out in detail for the 13-14 year. Is it coming out of reserves? In other words, will reserves be reduced to attain that $7 million?
Yes.
Where are we with our reserves?
The Government Finance Officers Association recommendations, which I gave to you, is comparing unassigned fund balance, and I believe the number was 5 to 15 or 8 to 15%. We're at 3%, so we're below that recommendation currently right now. And
let me understand here, the TABOR requirement is 3%, the board policy is that we have 4%.
again, this is such a longer discussion, because when you talk about TABOR reserves, that's not unassigned. That is restricted and not included in what is recommended as the 8%. So we're not even funding the 4% board reserve right now in unassigned.
I'm still completely unclear about what we're voting for tonight. If I understand correctly, in terms of reserves, originally the board was going to put $9 million in reserves for the 13-14 school year. Now we're talking about reducing that to only putting in about $2 to $3 million. That question is still on the table. We have 3 ideas that some of the board members have presented: a staff bonus. I believe there's a component with charter schools, and a parent fee. We haven't talked specifically about the costs associated with each of those, or most importantly, the rationale behind targeting dollars for those items in the broader context regarding the overall needs of 85,000 children in Jefferson County.
But I think going forward, I'm wondering if we don't put these items and say, where are they in terms of priority? Is that what our public wants, or is that just coming from us?
Should we take $3 million from reserves to reduce fees or to offset fees paid by parents? $2 million to equalize for charter equalization, per pupil funding for charter equalization, and $2 million for teacher and classified employee bonus, one-time bonus.
I would provide then an alternate route. I would recommend that we consider what Ms. Fellman has placed on the table, and that is, as we look at the 14-15 budget moving forward, we keep these components in mind. We vet it with our community. We've had a long-standing history of doing that through our community engagement process, building in feedback from the budget committees as well, the expertise of staff, and aligning that with board goals. I would recommend we do this the right way, we do it thoughtfully, and we look forward to the 14-15 budget and save our reserves and have a more thoughtful conversation with our community.
Final question.
I move to add the agenda item to the January 30th conversation, specifically addressing spending $7 million in the 2013-2014 year.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Dahlkemper?
No.
Ms. Fellman?
No.
Mr. Newkirk?
Yes.
Ms. Williams?
No.
Mr. Witt?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. It was actually already on the agenda for the 30th. John voted to move it up because of the legislative imperative. We had already agreed to put it on the agenda, and I didn't realize that.
We had a 3-2 vote to
Not
not
to have it
include it on the agenda. So this budget item was specifically to look at the issue we discussed earlier regarding the spending of reserves for those 3 items for the 13-14 school year. The vote was to not include that on the agenda. If that's what this budget item is, then we would delete this item
That
from
is
the
correct.
agenda.